Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday, April 18th. It is 6:24 right now. Market's gonna open in about 6 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly. There's a couple things here to update. My computer reset overnight, so I had to reopen everything. I haven't turned off my computer in over 3 months, so I just automatically shut down. So sorry for the late start, guys. I just had a lot of stuff here to reopen and put everything in order. All right, a few more things right here, and we should be good to go. All right, looks like we're good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Perfect. This link sent out here. All right, cool. Looks like we're pretty much good to go. So I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. YouTube does this. Get this. All right. All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday, April 18th. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. So I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. And then we will get started with our analysis shortly. So let's see who's here so far. Morning, Van Hartwig. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Martha. Morning, Patricia. Morning, David. Morning, CJ. Morning, Karen. Morning, Active. Morning, D. Morning, Maria. Morning, AR. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. So looking at the market this morning, it's pretty all over the place. Looking over here on the higher time frames, price is still very bullish. You can see obviously on the 4-hour, 1 hour, 30-minute here, price is pretty much bullish, if not bullish neutral for the 30-minute here. Looking over here on the 10, price is turning bearish, but I think this will be temporary. So I think the sentiment here is still very high. Let me check the sentiment real quick. Just click on US30 here. Yes, the sentiment is still pretty high. As you guys can see, sentiment is 67% short. So I think this here is just temporary. I think price will swing down. It'll hit one of these lower lows and then it'll just, swing right back up. That's kind of what I'm seeing happening here. I'm going to go and draw a new line here. I prefer to use the higher time frames as the bounce areas because that's typically where price will get down to. So morning Vince, morning Dan, morning MXL, morning B, morning Eunice, morning everybody. So today is Tuesday, April 18th, guys, 6:28 right now. Market's going to open in about 2 minutes. Looking over here at the news real quick. Let me check the calendar. Let's see. So I don't think there's much news today. Today's Tuesday, April 18th. There was news at 5:30. It was light news, building permits, housing starts, all negative. So news at 5:30, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go over here real quick, mark that up. There was news over here at 5:30, which was right here, nothing crazy. And that's pretty much all the news for today, I think. Let me check my FX book real quick. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Market's opening in about 1 minute, guys. Yes, there's some news here at 5:30, and that's pretty much it. There's news here at 8:30, but we won't be trading at that time, so it's not really give could be very, very necessary for us. I'll mark it up just in case, in case we continue to trade past 8. But I don't think it's really necessary. So, all right, guys, market is opening in about 30 seconds. Looking over here at retail sentiment, it's currently 67% short, indicating that 67% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So we typically want to do the opposite and buy. Looking over here at the fundamentals, they're pretty much neutral right now pre-market. So we'll see what happens, but we do have a bullish retail sentiment in our favor. However, looking over here at the technicals, it's pretty much mixed. As you guys can see, the higher time frames are still bullish, lower time frames are bearish. I think this is temporary, and I think price will swing back up. So, I mean, areas to look for here will be, these lower lows here, because price will probably come down, bounce off, and then come right back up. It's kind of what I'm looking at here. So, I'll be looking for some sort of correction when possible. All right, so it looks like price came down to the low over here on the 30-minute, which, price might bounce from. Price may possibly come down from this area and then bounce from here, or it might come down lower. There's other areas here that need to be tested as well, but that's one of the basically areas where I can anticipate a possible bounce. But I mean, we'll see. Market is now open, guys. Sorry, I think my computer is muted. You guys can hear the opening bell. But market is now open. So let's go back over here to the 1 minute. And let's see what we got here. So we don't have a higher high. There's no entry for us to take here at the moment. We're looking for that lower low for price to swing, on its way back up. So we got the lower low right here. I'm going to mark up opening price right here. So we'll see here if price bounces from this point, because if price bounces from this point, provides a buy signal, it breaks and closes past the pivots over here, then we can look for possible entry. But at the moment, we just don't have that right now. So we're going to look for that swing back to the upside. Here's a clean chart. Let me go ahead and clean this up here. Here is the clean chart right there. Mark up opening price right there. And I'll mark up 8 o'clock right there. So this is a clean chart, not too many markups on here at all, just opening price and our trading time. All right, so we're looking for price to bounce on its way back up. Looks like we might get a V1 variation down here. We have a lower low with a V1 variation. So we'll see here if price swings on its way back up as it's doing right here. Target price point is going to be opening price, of course, up here. We're looking for a buy signal to break and close past the pivots 1 and 2. If we get that, then possible entry. If not, then, obviously we're going to sit tight and wait. Here's the criteria for the requirements. So first, identify a lower low using the high-low indicator. We identify the lower low right here. We're now looking for a buy signal to come up, which is valid. We're looking for it to break and close past the pivots up here. If we get that, then entry. If not, then it's got to sit tight and wait. Nice, Matty caught the bounce right there. Quick little profit, solid. All right, so still no entry here, guys. Again, we just got to wait for this to make it swing to the upside. There's nothing for us to take right now. We have the lower low right here. We're looking for a valid buy signal, and we're looking for it to break and close past pivots 1 and 2, which are these green and blue pivots right here, these green and blue lines. Don't have it yet, but looks like price might be correcting back up. So still nothing yet. If price starts to consolidate right here, I'm probably going to hold off on looking for entry because it's probably going to establish, a lower high somewhere around here. We'll see. Just need this to push above. Another issue here is going to be the sessions. Price might have trouble getting past it. So it's kind of more waiting for it, but we do have lower low right here. We also have a double wick rejection to V1 variation reversal pattern. And we're just looking for price to break and close past the pivots. I preferably want to take a buy anyways because sentiment's very strong for a sell. So looking over here, currently looking at the indices right now, the Dow is currently down 34 points, S&P's up 12 points, NASDAQ's up 60 points, Russell 2K's up 20 points, and the VIX is pretty much neutral at 0%. There's not really much direction here. The Dow is down by a little bit, but I do see a correction coming. I just don't know when it'll actually happen. So you guys got to be very patient about looking for entries here. So, all right, price is pushing up right here, guys. We're looking for it to break and close past this blue pivot. We're also looking for a buy signal here to come up. If we have the buy signal come up, then great. But we also need it to break and close past the pivot. We also can't have the candle break and close past it without the buy signal. If we get that, then there's no entry. So it's just a waiting game right here. As you guys can see, price is pretty much going sideways. There's not really much direction here. So I don't know if I'll be looking to take entry at this point, guys, because typically I don't like taking entry when price is breaking outside of a consolidation like this, because it could be a fake out. So typically what happens a lot of times when price starts to consolidate like this is that price will make a breakout. But a lot of times it tends to be a fake out. So like what happens is price will push up slightly. They'll break past the range. And then it'll fake out and come right back down into the range, right? So I typically don't like to trade when price is ranging like this because it's just not a good area to trade it. Right now, does not look like we're going to get entry. It looks like price is going to establish a new lower low, which is completely fine. I actually prefer to get lower because the lower that it gets, the more room that we have for price to push to the upside. So I'll mark up a zone down here. That's where the lower low is. And, you know, price is in an area where it hasn't been in a long time. So you can see over here, the last time price was down in this area, price pretty much broke and retested. So this was back on yesterday, on Monday. Price broke above it, retested, and shot up even higher. So that's from yesterday. Let's see over here. So if this becomes a case, this might establish a pretty strong support. Again, right here, price is retesting this level. If it creates a new lower low, then we'll just go ahead and drop it even lower. Or it might bounce off. Nick said, are you in this V1 variation? No, I'm not. The candle's way too big. If you look at the V1 variation, there's like, you know, one of the criteria is that you don't enter if the candle's too big. It's one of the red flags. So there's no way I'd enter this V1 variation right here. It's like 400 pips. Yeah, I'm not in that position. Yeah, for the V1 variation, I mean, pretty much any other entry you take, if it's over 300 pips and the stop loss is 300 pips, then it's just way too big. So I typically wouldn't have taken it. All right, so we have a basically a double bottom right here on these. You know, we'll see if it pushes up higher. I think price will fake out and drop down a little lower. So I think price may drop down a little lower, fake out, and then come right back up. I don't know if this push up is ready yet. But as you guys can see, now price is just in a big range. So if I drew another zone up here, you guys can see that it's literally a big range right here. There's nothing going on, right? So it's not really the best area to trade in right now. You guys got to keep in mind that it is Trap Tuesday, as most of you guys know. This is normal for Tuesday. You get a lot of these weird movements, a lot of trap setups, a lot of reversals, a lot of fake outs. It's the market's trying to like lure in traders basically. So in my opinion, I think the market is trying to lure in some more sellers, because if you look over here, it's 66% short. So like these people are going to hold on to these sell positions if you keep stopping them out, right? So they need to give them like some sort of hope that price is going to come down. As soon as price comes down a little bit and they think that, you know, they're in control, they're just going to spike price all the way back up. So the entry for this lower low is still technically running, guys. So, you know, this is a long, long way for it to hit. Typically, you want it to be a straight push, lower low, buy signal correction, right? Right here, there's still technically an entry at this point. I don't think I'll be taking, I'll mark it up for you guys, but I don't think I'll be taking this entry here. Because it's been consolidating for so long. And I don't even know if this here will close. But yeah, I mean, there's possibly an entry right here because we still have the lower low. There's never a higher low in between. There's no momentum signals in between. This here will be the very first buy signal. So if this candle breaks and closes past the pivots, it's technically an entry. I'm not going to take it, but I'm just going to show you guys it's technically an entry. Does not look like it's going to close. And there's no entry there. So that signal was invalid, as you guys can see. Second requirement here requires that it's identify a valid momentum signal. It's invalid because this is a buy signal with a red candle within it. In order for it to be valid, it needs to be a buy signal with a green candle within it. So with that said, there's no entry for us to take here. I'm gonna go and clean this up a little bit, and we will just, I can just leave that up, I guess. But now we're looking for a sell. So we need price to push up higher, establish a new higher high, and we can possibly write this down for a sell. The reason why we're looking for a sell is because we have a buy signal here. You can't get two buy signals right after each other. After a buy signal is a sell signal, and then after a sell signal is a buy signal. So no entry for us here, guys. Just waiting for another setup to come up. I mean, this is pretty typical for a Tuesday. If you guys remember last week, this is kind of the same situation that played out. This is typical for a Tuesday. So just keep that in mind when looking for entries here. You typically want a clean entry. You don't want something like this where it's super messy and then the buy signal comes up super late. And then for example, here it's invalid. So it wouldn't even be an entry if it was valid. All right, let's take a look at all the timeframes real quick. So yeah, I don't know if the bounce will still happen here. As you guys can see, I have the lower low marked up here on the 30-minute time frame. Price has not closed yet below it. So there's still 18 minutes left on this candle. What might happen here is price might just swoop all the way up, like towards the end of the candle, have a huge wick here, and then just correct right back to the upside. So this candle here is still pending off this lower low. The reason why I drew these levels here is because typically these are areas where you can buy the dip, only because the sentiment here is a bit high. It's more of a long-term move, basically buying it and then holding it for the rest of the session, because eventually I do think a correction will happen. So like, for example, here, I do think price will come back up and reach opening price, which is going to be the top of this candle, because the sentiment here is so strong. So I don't think this will drop forever. I think this will drop for like a short period of time. And then by the end of the session today, price will correct back up. So it's more of a longer hold type position intraday. That's why I drew these blue lines here. But there's other levels here. So like this isn't the only level. The price can still come down, test this lower level right here, and then bounce from this point as well. Let me measure to see how far is it from this level. It's not too far. It's about 1,470 pips. So I think it's a possibility that price can drop that far and then swing back up by the end of the session. But I mean, who knows, right? There's no guarantee that's going to play out. So you just got to wait and see how this here, moves. Obviously the volatility here is kind of low, so we're not really seeing too much. Let's check the calendar or the 1 minute candle real quick. So we have a pending sell signal right here, guys. You guys saw the alert. There's the pending sell signal right there, but there's no entry for us to take at this moment. The reason why there's no entry is because there's no higher high right here. So in order for us to take a sell, we need a higher high. So there's no entry for us to take here. I'm going to go ahead and mark up the zones that I was just referring to over here, so that you guys can see this better. All right, so here's the 1 minute time frame. As you guys can see, clean chart. There's not really much going on here. It's just a range. So you can see it better here on the clean chart with no markups. It's just opening price right here and the range right here down the middle. Yeah, Maddie said he wants price to drop a little bit more. Glenn said, might wait for another lower low, then look for entries. Yeah, same here. I mean, there's no entries for us to take right now. We need to look for a lower low because there's no lower low here. There's a lower low here, but there is a lower high in between. So there can't be any high lows in between, and there can't be no momentum signals in between either. So price technically, if we need that lower low, we need price to actually drop below this price level right here. So until price drops below this point, there's not going to be a new lower low. So price needs to get below here. And once it does that, a new lower low will get established. Yeah, and Manny also mentioned, Nick, that for this V1 variation, there's a sessions right here. So you wouldn't be able to take the trade even so. Just a lot of red flags around this area for those type of strategies. This is the only strategy that doesn't really incorporate red flags, but everything else does. So a couple of reasons why this V1 wouldn't be a valid entry. Candle was too big, plus it was sessions right above it. All right, we have the sell signal right here pending, guys. Again, there's no entry for us here, so it's not really an entry we can take. This here would be a pivot scalp entry if you're looking to apply that strategy, but it's not one I personally take because the bias isn't very strong for a sell. So if you guys remember the pivot scalp strategy, you need to have a strong bias in order to take a trade in that direction. Basically, all the other strategies, you require some sort of bias, which that bias is obviously not here. So, all right, no entry here, guys, at all. I actually want the sell signal to close so that we can start looking for a buy, because I personally would prefer to take a buy versus a sell here. So no sell signal there and no higher high. So there's no entry for us at this point. All right. Market's pretty flat. You guys can see over here on the clean chart, nothing's really happening. As you guys can see, price is actually squeezing. So if you guys are familiar with what happens when price squeezes like this, it's preparing for a breakout. So as you guys can see, price is just getting tighter and tighter down the middle. It's basically just luring people in. So people are probably entering buys or sells at this moment. And then when you least expect it, price is going to spike up or it's going to spike down. It's just price squeeze. So it's a pretty clear price squeeze right here, as you guys can see. Or I mean, you guys, so there's different ways of identifying this. Some people like identifying this as like a triangle. It's the same thing, right? It's like nothing, it's not really different. Just triangle. Price is still squeezing. So you guys can see here how price is squeezing down. It doesn't matter how you look at it, price is still squeezed. It's doing the same thing. Whether you're looking at it as a triangle or you're looking at it as price just squeezing down tighter, the same thing. It could be inverse triangle, it could be a triangle, it could be whatever you want to call it, but it's still the same pattern. So we'll see what happens here. Price still having trouble getting past this low over here. As you guys can see, the zone down here has been holding pretty strong. So we have the zone down here and the zone right here. All right, we have that pending sell signal. We actually want the signal to close. So we're waiting for it to close here so that we can get that swing back to the upside. But it actually needs to close. Hey, Cern, how's it going? Morning. All right, so there's no room for us here for entry yet. We still need price to drop below this lower low. So until this candle or any candle drops below this lower low, there's not going to be a new lower low. And that's what we need for an entry. We need a lower low or we need a higher high. Let's see if there's anything else here for us to look at. Refresh the NBC. Let me see if there's anything going on in the background. So the Dow's a little change in volatile trading as traders digest big earnings. Yeah, you guys can see the market's pretty much flat. So it's flat for CNBC, it's flat for us. Goldman Sachs misses revenue estimates after taking a 470 million hit on Marcus loans. Crazy. Not really any more. 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 Yeah, not too much news here. That's kind of the downside of, and there we go with that breakout. So this is kind of the downside of no news during our live sessions because volatility will just die down like this. Typically, if there's news, it'll spike price in one direction or the other. It typically acts as a catalyst, but right now there's just nothing for us to look at or take at the moment. As you guys can see, there's no lower lows and there's no higher highs. So in order for us to get that lower low again, as I mentioned, price needs to drop below this point. However, we still need that sell signal. So just keep that in mind that we need this sell signal for us to take a buy. So I want a sell signal to close somewhere around this area because if it doesn't, we still can't look for an entry. So as you can see, I drew this line right here. Price broke below. There's now a new lower low at this point. But in order for us to look for a buy here, we need that sell signal to close. So we got that new lower low right there. It's probably going to keep dropping lower. Target price point for this here for price to test is going to be this lower level down here. So price might drop down a little further to this area, and then it might correct all the way back up. So target price point here, price continues to drop, is going to be this lower low. I don't think price will like really go too far. It might just come down, tap it, and then swing all the way back up. That's only if price continues to drop. We can't really predict if price is going to continue to drop or if it's going to correct back up. But looks like price is still trying to make its way lower. All right, so we want the sell signal to close. As you can see, it's having trouble. Okay, so we currently have a double bottom down here, basically. If I draw the zone, it's like more of a clear double bottom. So you can see right here, I'll just take off this line. We have the rejection right here, and we have the rejection right here. So this right here looks like it could be another V1 variation. But there's no entry for us here to actually take because there's no buy signal that's coming up. We currently have a lower low here. We don't have a sell signal that's come up. So there's not going to be any entry for us just yet. So just to clear things up, guys, because I know some of you guys here are new, the reason why we can't take an entry here is because there's no signal that's coming up. If you look over here at the momentum signals, there's no signal that can overlap each other. So if you have a green signal right here, the next signal has to be red. There can't be two greens right after each other. So you can see right there that there's a pending sell signal. There you go. So the sell signal closed right here, but there's still no room for entry for us because as you see over here under the note, it says no momentum between signals, or no momentum signals in between the high-low entry candle. So we have a lower low here, but we have a sell signal. So even if we were to get a buy signal right here, which is ideal, it's not going to be an entry for us because we can't have this in between. We need price to actually drop down lower. So we need price to drop down below here again, establish a new lower low, and then we can possibly look for a buy if price swings back up. Yeah, exactly. Maddie said it needs to drop a bit. Yeah, it needs to drop a little lower. So we need price to drop past this lower low right here, below the zone. If it does that, it'll establish a new lower low. And then from there, we can possibly look for a buy on the way back up. All right, so we have nothing here yet. Need a bit of a further drop lower. I mean, either or, there's not going to be any entry for us here. So you guys can see here the same zone that I drew from market open right here. It's still there. So price actually hasn't closed below it yet. Every candle here has some pretty big wicks. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. Whenever you guys see the candles have a lot of wicks like this, like wicks on both sides, there's a lot of uncertainty as to where price is likely to go. Whenever you have strong candles, typically price will continue that direction. Like for example, here, a lot of strong red candles, price dropped pretty heavy, and then it consolidated. Here, there's just a bunch of wicks on both sides, wicks on bottom, wicks on top. Nothing too clear here. All right, so I need price to drop below this level. And looks like we're going to get it right here. Let's see, it drops lower. There we go. So we have a new lower low here now. Now we can possibly look for a buy. I'll wait for this candle here to close and I'll draw a new zone there. I'll just wait a little longer. I think price might drop lower, guys. So as you can see over here where I drew, target price point's still like one of the target price points here. Price continues to drop lower, which it looks like that might be the case here. And it's perfectly fine. All right, this candle here is about to close. We'll see if it swings back up. If it swings back up, then great, we'll look for entry. If not, then we just got to wait a little longer. All right. So we have the lower low right here. If this green candle pushes to the upside, breaks and closes past the pivots with a buy signal, then there's going to be a possible entry for a buy. Let's take a look at all the time frames again. So it looks like the technicals might be shifting a bit. However, that bounce might happen when price reaches this lower end over here. So that's something to look out for. We'll see if price just continues to drop lower, if it stays where it's currently at. All right, still nothing for us to take here. I'm fine if price drops lower, because lower the better, obviously. It's going to be due for some retracement. As you guys can see, prices drop pretty heavy. So I think we're going to measure this from this area up here, because this is where the drop started, from this higher high. So if you measure price from this point to down here, prices dropped about 1,330 pips. Usually the cutoff for this area is like 1,500 pips. If price drops a little lower, then it's like really due for a retracement. So the drop started right here. Down to this point, this is 1,300 pips. It's not too far down, but it is down it's dropped for a bit. Overextension should be around this area right here. This is probably going to be where I consider price overextended. So price might drop down a little lower. It just established a new lower low right there, which is fine. But this is pretty much how far price has dropped since this higher high. So it is due for retracement at some point soon. All right, still no room for entry here. Price is dropping a little lower. The lower the better, because then we have more space for price to push up. All right, so I'm not sure if anyone caught the pivot scalp right here. If you guys caught it, it already hit TP. Obviously not when we're in account, but I did mention that there was a pivot scalp right there. Went straight down. Yeah. So the sell signal was below the pivots. Trend meter was red. Entry for a pivot scalp if anybody was looking to take that. All right, so it looks like price is very overextended at this point. It might be coming back up at some point, but there's no rush. I don't mind waiting for it to drop even lower. Let's go back over here. So here's the 30-minute again, guys. As you guys can see, I have it marked up right here. This is where the bounce might happen if price continues to drop down lower. Price will probably come down, reject off the low right there, and then bounce right back up. Glenn's asking, do you think it'll bounce off the 30-minute trend line? Possibly. That's another area where it can bounce from. Or it might break below. So, price might break below this point here. But yeah, we do have the trend line marked up right there. So, we'll see, Glenn, if it does. It's a possibility. There's two different areas where price can bounce off. Price can bounce off the trend line. I think price will drop down lower though. But as I mentioned earlier, price is overextended. So price might bounce off the trend line, like you said, Glenn. So this is what may happen. So price might bounce off the trend line, push up slightly, and then come right back down lower. So this is what I kind of see happening right here, Glenn. I think it'll fake out because if you're looking at this as a trend line bounce, a lot of people are looking at the same thing, right? So you kind of have to look, you have to think outside of the box. If everybody's looking at this trend line here and looking for that bounce, what do you think is going to happen? I think price will come up, fake people out, and then it'll come right back down to stop people out, and then it'll shoot right back up. I've gotten caught in this a lot of times. If you guys have ever traded trend lines in the past, this is typically what happens. Price will come down, bounce off. People will take the buy right there. They get stopped out. They try to re-enter for another buy. They get stopped out again. And then price finally goes up, but they're not in the position. So I'm sure that's happened to you guys before in the past. If you guys have traded trend lines, that's why I don't like trading. Well, typically I won't trade trend by itself. I would have to incorporate it with something else. Like I'd look for a trend line bounce and then look for some sort of structure and then look for some sort of reversal pattern. You have to use a combination of different confluences because a lot of the times you can't do it standalone. So if you look back at this previous trend line, let me see if I can find down here. So this is another trend line down here. And you can kind of see how this fake out played out right here, Glenn. So see how this was a previous trend line? Price faked out right here. Price broke and closed past it. A lot of people, what will happen is if they see price breaking and closing past the trend line, they typically enter a short, right? So they enter the short, price stops them out. So you kind of have to it's like playing chess. When you're looking at these entries, you have to think of different scenarios. Like what could happen from here? There's two things that can happen from this point. Price can bounce off it and correct, which is like what most people would think. Price will bounce off this area and correct. Or, price can do the opposite and it can break below, then fake out and come right back up. So you just have to look at different scenarios here. I think with this right here, there's just too many scenarios. There's one scenario where price will bounce off it. There's one scenario where price will break and close below it. There's another scenario where price will bounce off, fake out, come back below, then bounce off this lower area. And then there's probably other scenarios too. There's just too many different situations that can play out. When I'm looking for an entry, I'm looking for like two situations. I'm looking for price to either go up or go down. But if there's like a lot of areas here that are providing opportunity for a fake out, that's usually not the type of not the type of entry that I'd be looking for. So for me personally, I wouldn't be looking for that there, but we'll have it marked up here. So if it does happen, we can take a look. But I think it'll fake out. I don't think price will bounce from there just yet. It might have a small bounce, but I think it'll continue to drop a bit lower. Yeah, Kevin said, I don't trade trend lines, but I draw them and use them as an extra confluence. US30 fakes out a lot around trend lines. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Kevin. So for me personally, I think US30 is one of those assets that is really tricky when using a trend line. I think trend is obviously going to be something that you should use, but it shouldn't be like a standalone strategy to be applying. So you can see here, price is dropping lower. It just keeps dropping lower, but I think price, target price point that I was looking for is going to be this lower area right here. So it's getting close to your trend line right here. Glenn, we'll see what happens. It's also getting close to the sessions right here. So price might even bounce off the sessions down here. I think sessions are more reliable with regard to rejection points. So we'll see. But again, we just have to wait for this here to establish the low. Or price might not even make down that far. Price might start swinging up before it reaches the trend line. Yeah, so price isn't there yet. It just keeps establishing new lower lows, establishes new lower lows, but you can see that volume is starting to die down. The candles are getting smaller and smaller as price gets down to this area here. Let me turn on the volume indicator. Yeah, you guys can see over here that the volume is starting to slow down a bit. It slows down, then it picks up. The candles look a little bigger, but it's still pretty slow in comparison. It's just this big candle right here. Let's see where price got to. Okay, so price looks like it broke past the trend line, Glenn. So I think this here will probably break below. I think it's going to fake out. I don't think it's going to bounce off the trend line because it already broke past it right here. I think target price will be down a bit lower. Or I mean, who knows? Huge wick right there. So this is the lower low at this point. All right, so we have a double body right here. We have a huge wick right here, pending double body rejection right here for a V1 variation. If it closes as a green candle, it'll be a V1 variation, which is a reversal pattern. We're still looking for a buy here. So if price does do that, then we can possibly look for price breaking close past the pivots with the buy signal and look for an entry. But we'll see what happens. Got 30 seconds left on here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Maddie, I agree with you. So like what Maddie just mentioned right now is that, you shouldn't try to like force anything here. So if you guys are trying to force an entry, like if you guys are like looking for something to take, then that's like the wrong way to trade. Because if you guys are forcing some way to trade, you're just going to take something that's not actually there. For us here, like how we apply our strategies, guys, we look for the specific strategy, right? So I know some of you guys are looking at trend lines and some of you guys are looking at support resistance and looking at order blocks and etc. If that's your strategy, then stick to your strategy. But don't try to force something like, if you don't trade trend lines, don't look at trend lines today just because you want to take an entry, right? If you're not a trend line trader, then don't just go to trend lines today because you don't see anything else using your own strategy. That's how people blow their accounts. So just keep that in mind, guys. We stick to the game plan. Our game plan is this strategy right here for us specifically on this live. If you guys don't trade trend lines, don't trade trend lines today. Like you're not going to be an amazing trend line trader just because that's what you think works today, right? Stick to what you're trading. If your strategy is trend lines, then trade trend lines. If your strategy is order blocks, then stick to order blocks. But don't try to intermingle different strategies because you're bored. Because that's typically how I see a lot of people blow their accounts. They get bored and they start to try new things, and they just end up losing every single trade. So just just a word of warning, because I know I can tell some people are getting bored in the chat looking for something here because there's no entry here. It's like 707, but don't try to force anything that's not actually there. Yeah, Jonathan said facts. Yeah, exactly. Just looking out for you guys because the worst thing to happen for you guys is you're having a great month with us because we're currently up. Let's see. So for the month of April, we're currently up 10 wins and 1 loss, right? Because we're pretty conservative with our entries here. So don't blow your streak right now, your winning streak, by taking some random trades. That's all I gotta say. Because it's all about consistency and discipline. If you guys can't stay consistent and disciplined with your trading strategy, then you're probably never gonna make it in trading. That's just the way how it is. You just stick to your trading plan and your trading strategy, and you'll be fine. All right, we currently have a buy signal here pending, guys. We currently have the lower low right here. We have a lower high right here. But if this buy signal pushes past this level right here or past this price point, then it's going to establish a new high. So we need a buy signal, basically a breaking close past pivots 1 and 2. And then we'll have a possible entry there, but we don't have anything here yet. Again, I don't like how the market's currently moving. As you guys can see, it's more of a sideways push right here. So I need like a really strong green candle in order for me to take entry. But I don't like how price kind of establishes a lower low and it goes sideways. I typically want a lower low and I want it to completely reverse right then and there, because that's where we're going to catch volume. Because if that's the case, price is probably going to push up even higher. All right, so this might be a possible entry, guys, but again, you guys have to wait for the candle to actually close. So we got 40 seconds left on this candle. Got 30 seconds left on it. Twenty seconds. Again, guys, you have to wait for the candle to actually close because this buy signal can easily disappear. So just keep that in mind. Got 10 seconds left. I'm gonna wait for it to close. 4, 3, 2, 1. It didn't close, guys. So unfortunately, no entry there. Yeah, the candle didn't close. Typical. Yep, on to the next one there. All right, so let's see where this ends up going from where it's currently at. So Glenn, looking at this right here, it did bounce off the trend line. It wasn't a clean rejection off it though. It actually broke past it, but it did bounce from there. So let's see if the bounce pushes up higher or if it just continues to bounce around from where it's currently at. Let's see. All right. So we are now looking for, there's no higher high here, guys. So this is not going to be an entry, of course. There needs to be a higher high before we can look for entry. Let's see. Maddie said the 5-minute got a V1 body as well. Starting to move sideways, sitting on hands. Yeah, I'm just going to wait for a bit, guys, because there's just nothing for us to take here. Again, we just got to reset the process. We currently have a buy signal right here. We need price to push up higher to establish a new higher high. So until it establishes new higher high, there's just not going to be anything for us to take here at the moment. So just got to sit tight and wait for this to start moving around. All right, let me go and clean this up because price is now down lower. All right, so I just got to clean this up because there's nothing for us to take here. Frustrating. Sucks when you're waiting for a trade and it just doesn't, like, it looks like it's going to close and then it ends up not. But it's all good. It's better to be safe than sorry. Just got to wait for the next possible entry to come up here. So let me just take a look at retail sentiment again. Sentiment it's dropped down a bit, guys. So with sentiment dropping down like this, there might be a shift, but no shift yet. Yeah, there's not really much movement here. As you guys can see, the volume has died down a lot. It's just it looks like price just continues to range. So again, there's like a new zone here. Price kind of dropped down a little bit, just established a new support resistance right there, or just a consolidation zone. Doesn't even have to be considered support resistance. All right, so we have a pending sell signal here. I mean, it's not really relevant because we don't have a higher high or a lower low right now. We currently have a lower high and a higher low in between. In order for us to get a new lower low, price needs to drop down pretty low. And in order for us to get a higher high, price needs to push up pretty high, like basically above this area, which I think we'll possibly get. Probably we need a price to push up a little higher for us to get that higher high. And then vice versa, in order for us to get a lower low, price needs to drop down below here. So we'll see. But there's not really much going on here. As you guys can see, price is pretty much just going back and forth. I do think price will be bullish eventually, though. So let's take a look at all of the indexes over here. The Dow's currently down 115 points. S&P is currently up 3 points. NASDAQ's up 23 points. Russell 2K is up 2 points. And VIX is currently up. It's pretty neutral. It's just right down the middle. So there's not really much of an alignment here. The Dow's currently down a lot, but it's not super heavy down. It's just down over 100 points. So it's bearish right now with regard to fundamentals. S&P is like pretty much neutral. NASDAQ's neutral. There's no direction with regard to, really any of the indexes. Yeah, exactly. Maddie said retail made money and pulled. Yeah. Looks like they were smart about it. All right, so we're getting price pushing up a little bit higher, which is a good thing. We're looking for price to push up a bit so that we can get a higher high. We'll see if this pushes up. So it's got to give it some time. It's pretty much ranging. I actually want price to push past this zone here, even if it needs to fake out, just to widen out the gap a little bit. See. Yeah, I just saw it. Just saw it, Maddie. All right, so there's still nothing for us to take here right now, guys. All right, we currently have a higher high. So as you guys can see, I drew this little circle right here. I said if price pushes up above this area, we'll get a higher high, which we just did. So we have the higher high at this point, and price is still pushing up a little higher. All right. So we have some profits here from Kenny. Kenny locked in a total profit of 2,080 for the day, all wins. Nice work, Kenny. So small, pretty smart profits right here. He took trades on open. Looks like he took the breakout and then took a couple of trades here as price bounced to the upside. So nice work right there, Kenny. 2,080 for the day. There's no official trades yet, so don't worry about it if you guys haven't taken anything. I did take a couple of speculative trades down here. I took the V1 variation as price swung up here. I took it for a partial profit. So I'll just send you guys my profits for the day so far and for the week. None of these trades are going to count. I just take these in the background. When I see some of these entries come up, I just take them if they look like they're solid entries. So these are my profits so far. I don't have that much. I closed it out for partial because price was kind of bouncing around a bit. It hit my TP, but it didn't actually close. So I just took one trade. Not going to count as towards any of the official results because there's no official trades. I made 490 off my FTMO number 2, 340 off my FTMO number. 490 off my FTMO number 1, 340 off my FTMO number 2, and then 190 across all of my MFF accounts. So some slippage there. I think the spread. I heard the spread on MFF has been pretty wide. I don't know if you guys have looked at it. I think CT mentioned it a while back that their spread kind of like spreads out. So I think that's why I'm getting less profit here because the spread's like super wide. Like half profit per for every trade for the past month or so. All right, so this candle right here, broken close past the pivots, guys. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any entry for us here. There was a higher high, but the problem here is that this candle broken close past the pivot, so there's no entry for us to take there for a sell. We just got to wait for price to push up higher at this point. And this market sucks. I mean, this is normal though. So the market does suck today, but it is normal for a Tuesday. If you guys remember Trap Tuesday last week, this was the same exact thing. This is why we weren't taking trades, because I think we took a loss last Tuesday, right? Or am I wrong? Let me check real quick. So last Tuesday, no, actually, we didn't take a loss last Tuesday. Let me check real quick. We actually had 2 wins last Tuesday. But if you guys remember, so here are the trades from Tuesday last week, or you can just see the markups. You guys can see that there was a lot of consolidation right here as well on Tuesday. So this is the chart from last Tuesday, April 11th. A lot of fake outs right here, a lot of consolidation. It was just a bigger range. So pretty much the same situation, except right here, the range is a lot tighter. Range is tighter, but it's been ranging just like it did last Tuesday. But we had a lot of setups like this where price would get really close and then not actually, set up for an entry. Price is pushing up right here, so there's a new higher high. And then we'll see if price, ends up coming down lower from where it's currently at. Some profits here from Kevin. Kevin got pretty much all wins today. Took those sells as price continued to make its way down. Total profit of 15,820 for the day. So nice work right there, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin said market sucks right now. It's just a lot of flat movement. David over here said not a lot, but I'm currently working to pass my challenge slowly but surely. Total profit of 1560 for the day. Nice work, David. Yeah, no, your profits are solid because I know you're trading a smaller account. So like if you were trading a 200K account, this would probably be 1,516. So it's all good, David. Baby steps, but you'll make it there. But yeah, at the moment, there's just nothing for us to take right now. Currently have a new higher high right here. We'll see if price comes down and establishes entry for us, but there's just nothing for us to take at the moment. I just saw your messages, Maddie. I thought you were talking about the Telegram. Yeah, I mean, you could change the name of any of the strategies. It's pretty much the same thing we're doing. All right, so there's still no entries for us here, guys. I mean, we're looking for the sell at this moment. We have the higher high right here. We're looking for a sell signal, break and close past pivots 1 and 2 right here. If we get that, possible entry for a sell. But again, you guys have to wait for the candle to actually close. All right, we got 40 seconds left on this candle right here. We need that sell signal. All right, no sell signal. We have about 15 seconds left on this candle. Volatility is very low, as you guys can see. Price is pretty much just going sideways right now. Not too much for us to take right now. Yeah, there's nothing for us right here. Price is just pretty much consolidating. Again, it's just not looking good right now, guys. Price is going to establish a new higher high. It's just consolidating. So this isn't the type of entry that we want. Typically, the entry that we want is a straight push. So like we typically want something like this, right? A higher high, sell signal right after, and it drops down further. Same with, with like this over here. Whenever you get like these types of entries, guys, we're looking to establish a top or bottom, and then we're looking for momentum to continue that direction. Looking at this right here, there's no momentum. Price pretty much establishes a higher high and then just consolidates. So this is not the type of entry that we'd be looking to take. So even if we do get a sell right here, guys, I'm probably not going to take it because it's probably just going to keep consolidating sideways. Not a good area to trade in. You typically want a higher high, straight push down, sell signal, and then continuation lower, right? But we just don't have that yet. Okay, so this candle here broke and closed past the pivot, so it pretty much made the decision for us. There's no entry here. We had the higher high here, price broke and closed below it, but there was no sell signal, so there's no entry for us to take. On to the next one. We're now going to look for a new lower low. And if you guys are wondering how to identify these ranges, it's actually really easy. All you have to do is you need to mark up where the higher high is and the lower low. If you guys can have that marked up, that's pretty much going to mark up the range for you. And here we go. As price drops super heavy right here. Not an entry I would take. Probably be careful if you guys are looking at this. Would be a pivot scalp entry if it does close, but not one I would personally take myself. It's too big of a candle. And there goes the breakout. So if there was a sell signal right here, this would be a perfect entry. Unfortunately, we didn't get that because it would have blasted right through our TP. A question from Mohammed. Mohammed said, brother, YM and US30 is the same. Yeah, it's the same, Mohammed. So YM is the future asset. It's the E-mini Dow Jones. This is like the raw data. So basically US30 is a copy. It's a mirror of this data right here. This is the actual data. So you guys can see over here, this isn't from a broker. This is from CBOT, which is the Chicago Board of Trade. We pretty much pay for this data here so that we can get it directly from the exchange. If you type in US30, these are all different brokers that pretty much make their copy of YM. But since we're trading YM, we have like the best data, especially for scalping. But it's the same thing. Pretty much moves as it should. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, there was no entry here. If we had that sell signal on this candle, there was a pending sell signal, but it didn't actually close. If there was a sell signal, it'd be perfect because we would have taken that sell there and it would have blasted right through to our TP. But it's all good. Not going to force anything here. It's 7:26 right now, so we still have some time for possible entry, but we just don't have any opportunity here yet. So here's the trend line that we drew earlier for you, Glenn. As you guys can see, the trend line here still hasn't closed. It has about 3 minutes left on it. So we'll see how it closes here. If it closes and bounces off, then great. I think that this will be a fake out, and I think price will come down to this area still. So, I mean, who knows? We'll see. I could be right. I could be wrong. There's no wrong way to analyze the market. If your confluences line up, just look at your analysis here. Everyone could look at this differently. There's a trend line here. Some people might think there's going to be a bounce. Some people might think it's going to break and close below and continue dropping. It can do a lot of things here. A lot of different situations that can play out. Nice, Mohammed. So Mohammed said, thanks. Scott, US30, 14 pips profit, solid. 14 pips, you probably made 140 pips. 14 pips is like barely enough to cover the spread. So I think with 14, you probably covered 14 points, which is 140 pips. Yeah, if you're using YM right here, and I'm pretty sure that's what you caught, Mohammed. So if you look at this over here, so see how it says 14? This is 14 points. 14 points is equivalent to 140 pips. So you just add a 0 to it times 10, and that'll be the pip worth. So I think you caught 140. So nice work. If you got 140, that's pretty solid profit for a quick scalp here on the 1 minute. See, Glenn said he got lucky entering at the 724 candle, had his TP set to 250, thought he'd close it with a sell signal. Oh, nice. So looks like, yeah, Glenn actually took the candle right here. So he took a candle. He thought the sell signal closed, but it didn't. And then he just ended up catching this ride down for 250 pips. Nice work, Glenn. I just saw your message, Nick. Nick said I wouldn't trust a sell right now, guys. And as soon as he said that, price dumped super heavy. He said that at like 722. I know I wouldn't trust it either, Nick, but it played out the entry that we were looking for. It's all good. This just goes to show that, your analysis could easily do a complete opposite. It can do what you're thinking, or it can do the complete opposite. Nice. Kevin said he caught that huge drop, just happened, made big profits. Nice work, Kevin. Yeah, I know, Maddie. Yeah, unfortunately, the strategy here didn't play out, but you guys can see that the strategy still plays out pretty solid. This is why it's important to stick to your game plan. Like it didn't actually set up how we need it to, but if it did set up like it was supposed to, it would have played out perfectly. So this is why sometimes if you guys do make the accident of entering the trade on accident, like what, like basically what Glenn did. So Glenn basically entered this trade here on accident because he thought it was going to close with a sell signal. It still played out. Typically, if you have a close entry, it'll probably play out. Kind of similar with this one right here, right? So this green candle over here was supposed to close with a buy signal. And unfortunately, it didn't close. But even if you took the trade there, it still would have played out and hit your TP eventually. Right. So that's why I like this strategy, because the strategy is so accurate that even if you make even if you make a mistake and you take an entry too early or too late, it's typically going to push at least a little further to hit your TP. So like, for example, here, I think maybe some people probably entered this on accident because they were waiting for the green candle to close. It didn't close, but if they did enter, it still would have hit their TP. And then same with this one over here. We had the higher high pending sell signal. It didn't close, but Glenn over here entered it on accident and it still hit TP. It doesn't always play out that way, but a lot of the times it does. So, it's a safe bet if you guys are looking to apply this specific strategy. And that's why we focus on this one mainly, because typically it'll play out, even if, it's an accidental entry. Man, I got to figure out a way to get CAPTCHA on this group chat, because these like crypto scammers are super annoying. All right, Maddie's profits over here. He's currently up 1,011 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. Solid profits right there. Patricia over here, she's currently up 3,290 for the day. Nice work, Patricia. Solid. Yeah, Patricia said, been working on something, needs a little more perfection. Yeah, no, if you want to share with me, Patricia, I could probably help you with it. But if not, yeah, keep working on it. It's fun. Yeah, no, it's key. So like Patricia over here has been working on a strategy, and this is key, guys. If you guys are looking at the strategies and you guys are working on something, just continue working on it, right? Eventually, you're going to figure out a way to make it work. There's just sometimes a little bit of some adjustment that needs to be made, or some sort of indicator that needs to be used to identify something that's missing. That's typically why I create my indicators. If you guys have seen my indicators, we started with only the momentum indicator, and I pretty much added more things as we progressed as a group, because everyone kind of needed something a little different. All right, so price actually came down to this area right here, guys. And it looks like it's probably going to bounce. It's a V1 variation right here. So you guys can see over here the lower low that I marked up earlier. Remember how I mentioned price was going to come down here and bounce? And that's pretty much what's happening here. Price is bouncing up a little bit. See how it looks over here on the one. So we'll probably get a correction to the upside right here. Sorry, guys. I did that in secrecy. I thought my computer was muted. I took my little bounce right there. So I took the trade right there when price bounced off that. As I mentioned, I'm buying these dips here. So price came down from this area, bounced off the dip. So I told you guys this from the start, right? From the beginning of the session, I said if price comes down in this area, I'm going to expect a bounce. I caught the dip right there. I wrote it up. I locked in a total profit of 1,020 on that. Some slippage. I had 1,500. Price kind of spiked down before it made its bounce. I've been applying this. This has been working really well. So I'll continue to draw this on the chart. If you guys want to do it, it's all speculation. Basically you can buy the dip, and I do expect price to to bounce off these areas. The only reason I take these types of trades is if the sentiment is very strong. So like, for example, here it was above like it was like 67% this morning, right? So it was pretty strong this morning. If it goes anywhere below 60%, I'm not going to be using this because I don't really have a bias. The bias for today is still bullish. So I think price is coming down, bouncing off these, and it's probably going to push up higher from that point. This is all speculation though. But this is typically how you would like dollar cost average into a trade, not necessarily how I'm doing it because I'm scalping it. But if you were to hold this for an intraday or a swing trade, you can basically buy a trade there and then hold it till the end of the session. And then obviously at some point, price is probably going to push back up and correct, because the correction point right here is going to be opening price. So you guys see this blue line over here? If price corrects back up, I'm expecting price to get back to this area. So I probably could have held it a little longer, but I took a big lot size. So I'm not going to take my chances. But yeah, that's basically that click noise that you guys heard. I'll remind you guys every morning what those blue lines mean. And, just keep in mind that I'm probably going to be taking some trades off those points. But when I do take trades off these points, I plan on holding them. So I don't plan on just getting out of them super quickly. I only got out of this super quickly right now because I thought price was going to continue dropping. Also, the sentiment here is not very strong anymore. If it goes below 65%, then at that point, the sentiment isn't very strong. It's still bearish here, but it's not very strong. Anything past 65 is usually a strong bias. Anyways, back to the charts here. There's still nothing for us to take at the moment. Even if we get a buy signal here, I'm not looking to take it because this here is not going to be a smooth push. I'll draw a zone right here, but you can see that it's not a smooth push. It kind of just went sideways for a bit. Okay, so we have a pending buy signal over here. However, I'd be a little careful about this entry here. I don't like when price moves sideways like this because this just means that price is ready for a breakout. Doesn't mean that price is going to break out in your direction, but it can push up a little bit, then fake out and come right back down. Or it can get stuck within this range right here. So if this here closes, I'll mark it up. I'll let you guys know if I'm taking it. I haven't made the decision to take it yet. I'm more on the side of just watching it right now, because it's not looking like a clean candle. We have about 28 seconds left on this candle. If I get a big push and candle pushes above here, then maybe I'll look for an entry, but it's right at the sessions. And I think price will just continue to bounce around this area. So let's see. Nice. Mohammed said, thanks. Doing challenge 200K profit at 3% today with emotional control. Nice. Yeah, no, that's key. Trade psychology is number one. You guys already have the blueprint of my strategy. You guys have my analysis. You guys have my trades that I'm taking. All you need after that is really just the trade psychology. So once you guys get your emotions under control, you guys should be able to do pretty solid. All right, I'll screenshot my profits real quick. See, Kevin over here said he crushed that big drop, got in at the moving average because he knew it'd reject. Total profit of 58,300 for the day. That's crazy. Crazy profits right there from Kevin. Yeah, pretty massive. All right, so let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. There's no entry here, guys. Obviously, the buy signal never closed, so there's nothing for us to take right here. We have another buy signal right here, so I guess we can wait again, but it's not really looking too great. Mohammed's asking, brother, how can I join your private group? Here's a website. Just go on the website and then just sign up for the live trading. Or if you want the indicators, you can sign up for the indicators as well, but it's just up to you. All right, there's a link right there, Mohammed. If you sign up to the free intro group, you can get access to the YouTube channel. But if you want the private group, then just sign up for the live trading. That'll give you access to the private group so you can be on the Zoom. Just keep in mind, Mohammed, that like the YouTube is delayed. So you're kind of hearing me like maybe 10 or 30 seconds late. If you're on the Zoom, it's real time. So you can hear me speak directly. All right, we currently have the pending buy signal right here, guys. Again, as I mentioned, I don't think this is a very smooth entry because it wasn't a quick push to the upside. Typically, you want to catch that momentum push to the upside. It's like a reversal pattern. So like, for example, here we have a lower low. Price kind of went sideways for a bit. It's not really looking too smooth. If we had a buy signal right here, then price would obviously push to the upside. But right now, it's just not looking too good. It's been trying to pass these pivots right here for a very long time, but it just has not had any luck. So again, right here, I don't know if we'll see this actually closing at the specific moment. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go and take individual screenshots of my accounts real quick, since there's just nothing for us to take right now. Here's an update of my profits. All right, perfect. So there's another possible entry right here, guys. But again, I think I'm going to hold off on this. I'll mark it up for you guys, but I'm going to hold off on it. I just don't like the way the candles here are moving. As you guys can see, a lot of wicks on both sides. It just shows a lot of uncertainty in the direction of price. It's also at a sessions right here. I know typically we ignore the sessions, but for this specific entry right here, it just looks like a mess. It doesn't look like anything too smooth or anything that I would personally want to take. So I'll mark it up right here for you guys, but I'm not going to take it. Just want to give you guys a heads up. All right, you got to wait for the candle to actually close. And the candle did not close, so no entry there, guys. See, it's just not a good area to trade. Typically, you're not going to get a lot of these candles here where they end up kind of disappearing at the last second. Typically, they'll close right away, and then they'll just continue pushing. Right here, momentum didn't close, so there's no confirmation of momentum actually going through, unfortunately, but it's all good. We'll keep waiting. Let's see, it's 7:41 right now. I'm hoping we get an entry before 8. If we don't get one, guys, we're probably just going to wrap it up. As I mentioned, this market's not really too smooth, so it's not necessarily a good time to force any trades. I think you guys remember from 2 weeks ago, we forced a trade on a Tuesday. We waited after 8, and that trade lost. So, being smart about what happened in the past, we're probably just going to sit out and wait. Just don't get any FOMO, guys. I mean, that's the key thing. I think a lot of people mess up because they get FOMO. And I think that's everyone's worst enemy. It's FOMO, revenge trading, and over trading. All right, take a screenshot of all of my profits. All right, so here are my profits so far for the day, guys. Here's my FTMO number 1, blocking a total profit of 1,510. Here's my FTMO number 2, total profit of 1,360. Here's my MFF number 1, 910. MFF number 2, 910, and my MFF number 3, 910. So total profits for the day so far is 1510, 1360, 910, 910, 910. Total profit of 5,600 for the day. I just took 2 trades, one off, one V1 variation, and then same with this down here. I took the bounce. I saw the V1 variation right here. That's why I took the buy. So I took the bounce and the V1 variation right there. So total profit of 5,600 for the day. And then for the week, I'm up 54.70, 52.20, 33.70, 32.20, 33.20. Total profit of 20,600 for the week so far. So nothing crazy, but I mean, it's pretty decent. It's only Tuesday, so we still have a whole week ahead of us. Yeah, Glenn said already closed MT4, didn't like taking lucky trades. Yeah, smart work, Glenn. You know, if you're getting lucky trades and you don't want to make that a bad habit. So that's the key thing that I want to remind you guys. Like, for example, Glenn took the sell over here. It didn't actually close, but it almost closed. He took this higher high and he thought this was going to close with the sell signal, and he took it for a sell. He got lucky with that trade, but it's not a good habit to have, because if you guys keep taking these random trades, or not random trades, but trades that didn't actually close, then you're going to develop a bad habit of taking, or basically forcing trades. So smart move, Glenn. I agree with you. I'd do the same thing. If I got lucky a couple of times, I would just wrap it up. So not too bad. I mean, these are my profits so far. No official trades though, so just keep that in mind, guys. I made profits today, but these are not going to count towards official trades. I just want to make that clear so that you guys aren't confused about like what's official and what's not. There's no official trades that have been taken yet. I'm still looking for one trade here, but if I don't get one, I'm not going to force anything. So just keep that in mind, guys. You know, it's better to close the day with no losses rather than try to force something and make something out of nothing, basically. But I mean, yeah, so for the most part, I was only applying the V1 variation. So like, for example, right here, this is the trade that I took earlier. There was a double body V1 variation pending buy signal. I took that for a buy right there. I didn't hold it for full TP because it didn't hit my TP. So like, right, for example, right here, it hit my TP and spiked down, and then I just ended up closing it. So I got partial profit on that. The other trade I took was down here. I had the rejection off the lower low, basically the rejection off this point right here. I saw the double body V1 variation, and I took that for a full TP. So if you guys want to learn this strategy, I know we haven't covered the strategy in a long time, but this used to be one of our main strategies that we applied in the past. It's good as a confluence entry, but not standalone, because it's kind of difficult if you're not looking at the overall bias. But if you guys want to learn this strategy, just go to our website, kodikaitrades.com, click on unlock your free access right here. If you guys click on that, you'll have access to the course. And if you guys go to the course over here, oh crap, I don't have the course here anymore. Let me see if I can pull up the course for you guys. If you guys pull up the course, just go to the scalping strategies, and it'll be called the V1 variation. It's probably like a third module on that. On that page. David's asking, is there a mentoring session today? Yeah, so we're having our mentoring session today at 2 o'clock, guys. We had to push it back from yesterday. I had to play golf. So we're going to be having it today. All right, there's nothing for us to take right now. We still have some time left, guys. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily 8 o'clock yet, but it's getting close. It's 7:47. We have 13 minutes till 8. I'm hoping we can get at least one entry till then. If we don't have the entry, then we're not going to force anything here, of course. But I am hoping we do get something. All right, so here's the course, guys, as I mentioned. So if you guys go on the website, go to kodikaitrades.com. Click on unlock your free access right here. If you want to learn that strategy that I just applied for basically my profits for the day, I took 2 trades here. I took one partial. This one right here I had to close out early because I used no TP. I was trying to catch it as it swung up. I wish I would have held it, because if I held it right here, I'd be up like 500 pips right now. If I was up 500 pips, that'd be up 5,000 at the moment off that one trade. I closed out early down here at 100 because I saw this big red candle right here, and I was like, okay, I got to pull out. Or I saw this big wick actually. Saw this big wick rejecting off the sessions, and I just pulled out. I didn't feel comfortable. But if you guys want to learn that strategy, just pull up the course, go to the course over here, go down to scalping strategies, and it'll be called the V1 variation right here. 1 minute variation V1 strategy under scalping strategies. All All right, let me see if there's anything else over here for me to look at. Some more profits here from Dejan. So Dejan said he took that V1 off the higher high earlier, but market is nasty. So that's it for the day. So Dejan over here pulled in a total profit of 385 for the day. Nice work, Dejan. Yeah, great work, guys. I mean, there was no official entries here, but it looks like a lot of you guys here took trades based off my analysis, which is perfectly fine. If you guys know what you're doing and you guys understand what I'm explaining here. So like, for example, at the beginning, earlier in the beginning of the session, I mentioned that these lower lows were going to get hit, right? I said if price comes down here, it's probably going to bounce off it, and it did exactly that. So I drew this yesterday, actually. This lower low has been marked up since yesterday, last night. Price came down, took a V1 variation off that point, and then I wrote it up. So yeah, if you guys just listen to my analysis, I think it'll be very beneficial because I explain the same thing pretty much every day. So the more that you guys listen to me, the easier it'll be for you guys to pick up on like any possible entries that are to come up. All right, Maddie, we'll see you back here tomorrow. So, all right, guys, it's getting close to 8. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Unfortunately, there's no entries for us to take right now. Actually, there might be one right here. We currently have a higher high right here, pending sell signal. Again, you guys have to wait for the sell signal to close. Not really looking too smooth, but we'll see if it plays out. We got about 10 seconds left on this candle here. Again, you guys have to wait for the candle to actually close. If it doesn't close and there's no entry, it's not looking good though. You guys can see that it keeps disappearing and it's okay. Never mind. I didn't take the trade. It just spiked down at the last second right here. I wasn't able to hop into it. I don't know if anybody else got into it, but it literally, like at the last second, it came down like 30 pips or 300 pips. So I'm not in this position here. If you guys were watching it with me, it was like way up here. And at that very last second, price just pushed down super heavy. So I wasn't able to get into it. Yeah, CJ said that spike was random. I know it was super random. CT said that was ugly. Yeah, big spike to the downside at the last second. So I didn't hop into it. I mean, I could possibly make late entry, but I'm probably not. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from this. It's not that big push happened like within 1 second. Price dropped about like 200 to 300 pips. Not exactly the type of entry you want to be in. Yeah, CT said staying away. That was ugly manipulation. I agree. And here he goes. Price swings all the way back up. Van Harwick said, yeah, market makers are watching your stream. CT said, not our market. Yeah, I agree. It's not our market today, guys. It's okay. You guys got to understand that, there's going to be some days where you're not going to have any entries and it's better to just sit out the market than force something. We have another higher high right here, but I don't think I'm going to be forcing anything right now. So if I do see something, I'll mark it up, but I'm probably not going to be taking it. Pretty satisfied with my profits for the day. And I don't really plan on risking anything else from this here. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'll probably hang on for a little longer if there's anything that you guys need help with. Also, we're going to have our mentoring session later today at 2 p.m. So if you guys want to come back and sit in on the mentoring session, we can cover whatever questions you guys have in detail, and we can review any of the strategies that you guys want me to look at. Because we have a lot of strategies here that everybody applies, but obviously this is the main one that we've been applying. So yeah, Glenn said that's the market telling us to stay away. I know, right? A lot of big spikes right here, guys. It's not really a good time to trade. I don't even think there's any news going on today. So there's no real reason for price to be spiking like that unless something is going on in the world. So let me check the CNBC real quick. So looking at this over here, all the indices are currently down right now, or all the futures basically. The Dow's currently down 130 points, S&P's down 5 points, Nasdaq's down 13 points, Russell 2K is down 8 points, and the VIX is pretty much neutral. Looking over here, it says Southwest Airlines pauses departures after reporting technical problems. So this might have been the thing that caused a spike, guys. There was just that spike that happened a few minutes ago. Looks like this was just released 3 minutes ago. So I think this is probably what caused the spike. The weird thing is that Southwest isn't part of, it's not part of the Dow. or it's not anymore. It used to like a long time ago, I believe. It's definitely not part of the Dow. Let me see what's really affecting the market right now. So it's pretty much, I mean, it's not really heavy. It's pretty much evenly balanced. Looks like Goldman Sachs is currently down 6 points, but United Health is down 5 points. Johnson & Johnson is down 4 points. Amgen's down 2 points, but there's nothing here that's really weighing down the Dow 30. There's not one stock. It's pretty much a bunch of stocks here that are weighing it down right now. I mean, it's down 100 points, but it's not down too heavy. 130 points right now. Let's see. Tom is asking for the mentoring session. Could you tell us how you suggest to start an FTMO challenge? So for the mentoring session later, Tom, come with like more detailed questions, because I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like you said, play with lot size. I mean, you should never play with lot size. You should know what your lot size should be. That's called risk management, right? So you should never be playing with lot sizes. Whenever you're entering a trade, you should know what your lot size is already. You should never play with it. You shouldn't be going from like a 1 lot to a 10 lot to a 20 lot to 100 lot. You got to know what your lot size is. So I think this kind of like, yeah, Van Harwick said Lambo lot. You should never play with lot size. Your risk should be, you should understand your risk going in and out of the trade. Like when you're entering a trade, you should already know I'm risking 3%, 1%, 2%, and you stick at that. You don't like move your stop loss higher or lower. It doesn't even make a difference if it's like, if it's FTMO or if it's your personal account. You should, that's something that you should already have done. Like risk management is like key thing when you're taking these types of trades. So yeah, if you want to, I could help you with that. But I need like more detailed questions. Like it can't be like something random, like that's super open-ended, because we can just go on forever. Let's see, Tom said, yeah, do you apply 100% the same strategy and that's it? I mean, all the strategies here have the same TP stop loss, so it doesn't make a difference. If you're applying one strategy, two strategy, three strategies, you should understand your risk. Each strategy has their own risk that's associated with that specific strategy. But if you're trading on the 1 minute time frame, it's pretty much 130 or 100, 300 pretty much for every entry. So yeah, you can apply one strategy with one TP stop loss, but if all the strategies have the same TP stop loss, it's pretty much set, right? So you don't have to change anything. So yeah, if you want to apply one strategy and apply the same TP stop loss, then that's the case. That's what you should be doing. But if you're applying a different strategy, so like if you're trading on the different time frames, you know, if you're trading on the 3 minute or the 5 minute or the 10 minute, your TP stop loss isn't going to be the same thing. But if you're doing exactly what we're doing here in the live session, we've been applying this strategy since you joined, right? Nothing's changed since then. So if you want to apply just the strategy, you know, you stick to this TP stop loss that's associated with it. But yeah, is there a more specific question, Tom? Because like I feel like your question is still kind of open-ended, because you're not really you're asking, okay, do you apply 100% the same strategy? Yes, that's what we've been doing here in the live session. So I don't know. I feel like you're trying to you have a different type of question, but you're not really asking it properly. So if you have like, or just ask another question, and then we'll see if I can dig deeper into like what you're actually asking. So I feel like you're not asking the question that you really want to ask. You're kind of beating around the bushes. So just ask me what you want to ask, and then I'll answer it. Okay, so Tom said, yeah, but I mean, I'd like your point of view of how you would do the challenge. Yeah, I mean, it's always been the same. I said, focus on one strategy, follow the strategy, and stop doing anything different, right? Because if you just apply this one strategy here, like for example, if you applied the high-level momentum scalp, right, for April. So for April, if you apply the high-level momentum scalp and you use proper risk, we have 10 wins and 1 loss for the entire month of April, right? So I'm using minimal risk for myself because I'm already funded. I don't need to pass a challenge. You know, I'm doing fine. So like each trade here is like a 0.5% risk or a 1.5% risk. You can take a higher risk because your risk for the day is 5%. So if you took a higher risk and you were doing like maybe 1 to 3, you would have passed your challenge by now for April, because you'd be up 10% right now, right? Or you'd be up 7% right now because you had 10 wins and 1 loss. So I think you're making it a little more complicated than it is, Tom. I've always told everyone to just focus on what's here on the live if you want to pass your challenge. So just focus on what we're doing here on the live. All you have to do is adjust your lot size, and don't do anything else. Because you've been trying to do a bunch of stuff. Like I've been seeing in the chat, and you've been trying to apply like so many different strategies, but you don't understand any of them, right? So what I would recommend is that you focus on just one strategy here, because you keep trying to apply my strategy, then you try to apply Vincent's strategy, then you try to apply the high-low scalp and all this stuff, and you don't know how to do anything. So I would recommend to just focus on this here, this one strategy that we're doing on the live, or just focus on whatever we're applying here on the live, and just adjust your lot size to basically fit your criteria to pass your challenge. Because if you're doing a small lot size, I'm not really doing a small lot size, but for my account size, I can do a bigger lot size. I'm only risking 1.5% per trade. You're not going to pass a challenge by doing that, because I'm a very conservative trader. So does that make sense, Tom? Because I feel like I know you're overwhelmed because you want to do everything and you want to learn everything, but that's just going to do more harm to you because you don't know how to do that one thing that you need to learn how to do, which is this. Like if you need to focus on this, then you need to focus on this. You can't be applying this strategy, then applying Vincent's strategy, then applying the high-low scalp, and then basically blowing all these trades. And then you're going to question, what am I doing wrong? And that's the thing, you're doing everything wrong. So what I recommend is you focus on this one strategy here, focus on what we're doing here on the lives, and just adjust your lot size so that you can adjust your risk. So like I'm only making 0.5 percentage point per win here, right? If I'm making 1,000. So like, for example, here, if you're going to do the math. So if I'm making 1,000 per trade divided by 200,000, right? I'm making 0.5%. What you would do is you just increase your lot size. You would just use maybe a 200 lot size or a 150 lot size. I mean, depending on your account size, I don't even know what your account size is. But yeah, we can talk about that in the mentoring session. Just, come with like the specific details. Tell me what account size you're doing, what strategy you're applying, what you're doing, what your plan is. And then I can give you basically a trading plan to follow. But yeah, we'll do that during the mentoring session because I don't want to hold people here for too long. So yeah, if you guys want to sit in on the mentoring session later today, we're going to have it later at 2 p.m. You guys can ask me whatever questions you guys want. Like with Tom here, he wants to have like a detailed trading plan of like how he can pass his challenge. The only problem is Tom going to follow the directions, right? Because I think that's everyone's problem. Everyone asks me the same question every time. How do I pass my challenge? And I tell them, follow this one strategy. And then the next day they're applying like 5 different strategies. So I'll give you the game plan for you to follow, Tom, during the mentoring session. But you just got to make sure that you actually follow it and you listen to what I'm telling you. Because I feel like a lot of people will listen for like 1 or 2 days, and then they'll just do their own thing and blow their account. And then there they are back to square one. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. You guys can email me, Sean@KodiKaiTrades.com, or you guys can message me on Telegram. Some profits over here from Dave. So Dave over here locked in a total profit of 377 for the day, all wins. Nice work, Dave. Yeah, Dave said a small win with the same strategy, second day here. Nice work, Dave. Yeah, so Dave just joined the group a couple of days ago, and he's doing pretty good. Here's Vincent over here. Vincent took his entry from earlier today. I know, I think Maddie mentioned it earlier, or somebody in the group mentioned it. Vincent took this buy over here, applying his way of applying the strategy, total profit of 1,271 for the day. So nice work, Vincent. And I think that's it. If you guys have more profit to post up, feel free to send them in. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here in the next couple hours at 2 p.m. So it's 8 a.m. right now, guys, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. I'll be back in 6 hours. If you guys are not part of the group, what I do recommend is if you guys want to just sit in on the mentoring session, the free live stream, just go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/KodiKaiTrades. Click subscribe and turn on notifications right here. I go live Monday through Friday every morning at 6:30. And then also I go live for mentoring session once a week. So if you guys have your notifications turned on right here, you can just join the rooms completely free. YouTube will send you an email saying Sean's live right now. You just click on that link and you guys can join the session. So, all right, guys, other than that, I will see you guys back here in a couple hours.